So let's look at some grading stats. I'm going to start. We have the December grading stats and the 2023 grading stats. So start with December. Nothing really has changed too much, right? PSA graded 1.2 million cards, up slightly, up 9% from November and 16% year over year. SGC, strong growth year over year, pretty much flat versus November. But when you consider like a year end and people taking vacations and stuff like that, it makes sense that you'd be sort of flat. I'm never going to really talk about CGC and Beckett. I don't know what's really going on there. This would be interesting. I think I might do a video on the universal search that's available on GemRate. See how that works. Because normally, like at least when I do research, I just look at PSA pops, and because I don't have the time to look across four. So it'd be interesting if somebody's actually been able to kind of bring that all together. That'd be pretty impressive. What I always find interesting, or what I'm finding more and more interesting now, is PSA 1.2 million cards, right? But when you look at it, it's almost evenly split between sports and TCG. And when you look at year-over-year growth, right, the sports is pretty flat. TCG is massive growth, kind of across the board. But I don't really I don't care about the TCG market, but I'm curious if any of you guys are grading a lot of Pokemon cards that I'm just not aware of. So just a part of a market that I don't have a sense for. I think you can see PSA maybe 1.2 million is pretty much where they top out from a resource perspective. I guess we'll see as we go into next year whether they ever really eclipse that 1.25 mark. My sense is, and again, my opinion, is that their grading volumes are going to need a price decrease in order for the volumes to at least stay consistent, if not increase. I think people are going to start grading lots of less cards as you go through 2024. And if they don't come down in price, the risk-reward ratio for grading cards and making a profit continues to get worse day by day. So unless the price of grading comes down, it's not worth your time to grade the cards. So I wanted to scroll down to the items graded by era. I always enjoy seeing, just kind of having a look at the different decades. As you might imagine, 2020s represent the lion's share. 2000s continue to stick out as sort of a decade where people don't really grade a lot of sports cards. It's still the third most recent decade, but it's a distant fifth place, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's almost in line with the 60s, which is kind of blows my mind when you think about how long ago the 60s were. I think the last thing to point out is as we look at the different sets that are being graded, no surprise, 2023 and 2022 sets, and the players. The top players that are being graded don't change either. Jordan, Ohtani, Kobe, Griffey Jr., blah, blah, blah. It's funny. I wonder if Kobe Bryant's rape charges would have come up in an environment like today, would we have seen a Wander Franco type of reaction, and Kobe Bryant would have his career would have been cut short, and he would have just gone away. Interesting. I always say every now and then you think about stuff like that. All right, let's go over to the year in review, okay? So year over year, right, PSA up 21% year over year, SGC up 29%, SGC definitely making inroads, although still a distant second. CGC and Beckett, bringing up the rear. What I found interesting here is that baseball, 20%, and hockey up 16%, with the top growing sports in 2023 according to these stats. It makes me happy, right, to see hockey up there, and I do I do see that continuing with the arrival of Connor Bedard and the extra attention on the NHL. So I think there's some benefit there, but in the end, people are grading all the more recent cards, and I think we're going to find out that that's a mistake. When we look at the items graded over the year, year over year, the sports cards actually more or less flat, down slightly, right? For PSA, all their growth came in the TCG space. Very, very interesting. And when you look at the different market shares, right? There's really nothing nothing to highlight, right? It's PSA, SGC, and then CGC and Beckett. Again, looking overall through the year, right? Items graded by era, you see the same pattern that you saw in the December month. 2000s being ignored, 2020s being the lion's share of the new cards that are being graded. I'd like to understand what your grading strategy may be for 2024. Give me some feedback in the comments, and we'll do a universal search video soon. I'll play around with that. We'll see how good that is. Thanks for joining. I'll talk to you guys soon.